Hello everyone and welcome to my wrap up for August and September. Please don't comment on how bad my makeup looks because I am not used to wearing false lashes, so I know that I did a horrible job and I'm trying to improve. Let's just get started with August. So the first book that I read was Black Beauty, which is a classic book about a horse during wartime, I believe. I can't really remember that much because it was 2 months ago that I read this, but I listened to it on audiobook. It wasn't great. I ended up giving it a 2 stars. It wasn't for me. The next book I read was Hunted by Megan Spooner, and it is kind of a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I listened to this on audiobook as well, and I ended up really enjoying it. I gave it a 4 stars. Maybe I should move. I just remembered I should insert pictures. I really enjoyed it. I want a physical copy of the book. It's absolutely gorgeous. So the next one that I listened to wasn't on my TBR, and it is The Price Guide to the Occult by Lesley Walton. It's about witches and about this book. That's all that's all I can remember, honestly, and like a weird romance. I didn't like it. I gave it 1 star. I don't have anything else to say about it because I didn't like the book. I don't have many thoughts about a lot of these books. For this next one, I actually filmed my second 24-hour readathon for, and it is Steel Heart by Brandon Sanderson. If you go back and watch my video, you'll know that I didn't like this. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't great. I ended up giving it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. This wasn't a good introduction to Brandon Sanderson because it just made him look super bad, and I was really into the story at first. I really liked the concept of the entire world and how the villain was kind of playing out. But then, as most books do, unnecessary romance and plot twists that I saw coming from a mile away. And that's not the kind of books I want to read. But this is about like a superhero society is ruled by this guy named Steelheart, and Steelheart actually killed our main character's dad when he was little. So now he's out for revenge for his dad, and the superhero seems to have no weakness at all. He's just indestructible, but our main character saw him bleed. I'm not gonna continue on with this series. No. So the next book that I read in August was Emma by Jane Austen. This is my first Jane Austen book, and I quite enjoyed it, but there were so many characters to keep track of. I just got so confused. I did, however, like the ending. It was very satisfying, but I could tell who she was gonna end up with. I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5 stars. I am gonna read more Jane Austen though. I think I'll like some of her other stories a bit better. I'm not sure. So this next one was my only 5-star read in August. So sad. And it was Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jake Russo. I love this series so much. I don't think this one is my favorite one out of the 3 though. I think I might like the other 2 a little bit better than this one, but this is still a 5-star read. I did feel like the ending was a little bit disappointing, as I wanted it to be more brutal. But that's just personal taste. So I still really recommend the series. For the last book that I read, the only book that I actually read in Florida, and I listened to it on audiobook, and it was Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was very whimsical. Reminded me a lot of Alice in Wonderland. It was just okay. I don't really think middle grade is my thing. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I was younger. Moving on to September, which is more clear in my mind because it was this past month. So, the first one I read was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I really ended up enjoying this. I tried reading the physical, but I just found it weird to, like, it was kind of hard to get into. I don't want to say what it's about because I feel like these kind of books you need to go into without knowing really what they're about. But I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was really good, and I might pick up more Neil Gaiman in the future. The next one, this one was difficult, to say the least. I did end up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars, which is kind of surprising, but that was like a low 3. I know a lot of people don't like this book. It's The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. Yet again, I didn't like the writing that Dashner has. It's just very simple and very like dun dun dun. It's kind of like, oh, I woke up and did this, then I did this, then I did this, then I felt like that, then I did this. It's so repetitive and not nice to read. But the actual plot was really interesting. But at the end, I was like, did anything really matter in this book? So I did watch the movie after reading this, and the movie made way more sense than the first time I watched it. I was so confused back then. I was like, I don't understand how there's even a plot going on in the movie, but now I understand more. But it still wasn't the same as the book. They did things kind of very differently, and I don't know which one I would have preferred, because both endings were kind of the same and I didn't like any of them. But I need to stop talking. Gosh. The next one that I read, finally a good one. It's Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I finally finished this book. I read it in my first 24-hour readathon, and I finally continued it because I had gotten so far into it, and then I was like, no, I need to finish the books I've actually started before I start another book. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. If the main characters were adults, this story would have been way better. But I am so invested in this world now that I need to read the next book. And I am a little bit disappointed by the ending of this book, as it didn't leave much to look forward to in the next book, as it just feels like, oh, I don't need to continue on after that ending kind of thing. The last book that I listened to in the month of September was One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake. I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Three Dark Crowns, but I still ended up giving this book 3.5 stars, which is 0.5 more than the last book. The problems I had with this book was mostly that a certain character just kept reappearing, if I can say that much without spoiling. And then some characters just like flip the switch, and they were like a totally different person, and you were like, that's not how you've been acting this entire time, why now? So I didn't like the ending of this one. I'm gonna continue because the third book just came out, so I'll probably listen to that on audiobook as well. That was all the books that I read in August and September. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you've read during the past months. If you have read any of these books, what do you think of them? Are you excited to read any of these books? What books do you recommend me to read? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you're new, please subscribe down below. And I really hope you enjoy this. And have a good day. Bye!